Hello everyone, welcome. We back at it. So today's video is in courtesy of Fantastic Hip Hop. Please be sure to check out his channel. Go ahead and subscribe, like, what have you. Okay, so we have Kendrick Lamar. One of his shows was canceled. The show he was supposed to be doing in Colombia, and the show was canceled last minute. I feel so bad for the fans because they were truly dedicated to come to the show. Some of the fans had arrived around like 5 a.m., like the crack of dawn, and they was ready to go. But due to some infrastructure issues, due to the site not being safe, we don't want a Travis Scott 2.0 to happen, which I totally understand. But I think there was some foul play done here. So we'll get to that. So let's start.
Now, when it comes to Kendrick Lamar, well, if you are ready to see why Kendrick Lamar's show was canceled the last minute, but with this, there is something much more concerning going on in the industry that's all showing how there is an effort from people to take down the king of rap's image and integrity. This is an important one, so be sure to leave a like and subscribe. And now really, as from the media downplaying this to the way people in general have reported on this to the way they are trying to paint Kendrick Lamar as a whole in general with everything going on around his tour, and well, the lie.
Y'all, the media, the industry has been on a mission. They have been on a mission to destroy Kendrick. I've been saying this over and over and over, and I will continue to say it. They hate Kendrick Lamar, the industry, the media, the hip hop folks, the fans. And Kendrick is getting it from all angles. Even the pop fans is jumping into this. It's everywhere, the higher ups, the industry, what have you. And I don't know why Kendrick have not done anything
From this cancellation that they are trying to pin onto his name. Well, as I've been trying to tell everybody, there is something within the industry behind the scenes right now that has the higher ups mad at Kendrick, and they are trying on some level to push him down a notch. And with it,
that's what I was saying. The industry, the behind the scenes, the higher ups. But why? Why trying to bring him down a notch? He have hip hop at the highest pinnacle, doing these stadium tours, doing the shows, his performances. You see the joy that the fans get in the crowd, how the crowd be bouncing and enjoying themselves. So I don't get the point of trying to bring him down at all.
everybody needs to be aware of what's happening so we don't fall into the trap of what they want us to do, which is, well, take away the leader of rap and the guy that we need representing the culture. So really leave those likes because it has never been more important. And so let's just get into things, which now, for those who don't know, following Kendrick Lamar playing for 65,000 people in Mexico and had a crazy and all-time great first ever fully solo show on the Grand National Tour, and let's just remember and put this out there for everybody to see. Well, this show was a massive success to start leg 3 of the tour, as the crowd literally did look like this, and no rapper is doing anything close to these types of crowds anywhere in the industry, not even just right now, but pretty much ever for that matter.
Nobody is. That's why I don't get. Nobody is doing this. But he's the one y'all trying to bring down, of all people.
But now, following that, where things are getting weird is when we get to the second show for Kendrick, which was supposed to be on September 27th in Colombia. And seemingly before this show, about an hour before, the performance was canceled. And despite the official statement being released and saying, "We regret to inform you that due to logistical difficulties from the promoter and the venue, the Grand National Tour show scheduled for tonight has been postponed. The artist was ready to perform." And then also they expressed that they understand the frustration this has caused and they did an apology. Well, overall with this, despite the actual response being due to logistical difficulties from the promoters and the venue, there is a lot more to this story. And before we go deeper into explaining what caused the show to get canceled, I just want to look into the false narratives that they are trying to paint on Kendrick and just take a guy's reputation and star power with it, and now try to twist what he has been doing and act like this is not the guy who has filled up stadiums all over the world to sold out crowds pretty much everywhere. And the first thing I will say, well, is that while there are a lot of people, especially on the Drake side of things, of course, who are trying to post fake seating maps or showing off a small portion of seats that were seemingly available.
That's Drake fans. Drake's side is all about propaganda. That's all they do. Propaganda all day long. The unsold 20,000 seats, unsold tickets, the fake images of empty stadiums, everything they can think of, they will put it out there. They will put that negative out there, which I expect coming from Drake fans. That's what they supposed to do, right? They're trying to ride for their guy. I get it. But when it comes from everybody else all around from all sides, that's when I'm like, huh? What? Kendrick don't speak. Kendrick don't talk. If it's not in his music, he doesn't say a word. So when people trying to diminish his character, his work ethic, his performances, his art, his artistry, I have a problem with that. And I get annoyed because I just don't see where all this hate is coming from. And they've been popping Drake for the past 10, 15 years. And now I haven't seen it. Maybe I can point it out or comment down below. I haven't seen a point where the industry was trying to take Drake down from the top notch when he was at the top. I don't see anybody that came out or any artist that came out trying to knock him off his throne. Now all of a sudden, Kendrick is too much. Kendrick can't sit up there. Kendrick can't be the face of hip hop. He can't be the top guy because it's not Drake. Come on, y'all.
Listen, let's face this with logic. This venue fit 80,000 people, and even if Kendrick only filled up, let's say, 70,000 of that, the show was going to go on because first off, and for the people who listen to music with calculators and only think about social media gotcha moments and never put the art anywhere near the top of their priority list, Kendrick Lamar is not Drake, and he is not the guy who is playing the rap game with a calculator. And what I mean by that is that for him, when we break down what he wants, if these stadiums do fill up every single seat like they have and everybody wants to hear his music, that is great. But if they didn't, I mean, Kendrick is not doing these tours for the sole purpose of looking good and making.
And I'm glad he said that because that's exactly who Kendrick is. And that's correct too, because it don't matter. Kendrick will perform in front of 10,000 people out of a 40,000 arena. He does not care because the true dedicated fans that showed up, he's gonna perform like he would perform in front of a larger crowd. He does not care. Of course, all fans or artists will want the stadium to be filled. You're trying to get your message across to as many people as you can. But if not, and then only a certain amount of people show up for him that day, trust me, he's gonna go all out because that's who he is as an artist. He wouldn't cancel his shows just cause, you know?
Some numbers up to try and act like he is bigger than everybody. But again, as an artist and visionary of his stature, it is much more important than that. Because, well, and Drake, you're not going to like this, as the face of the league, he is trying to tell his story and get his message across to whoever is willing to listen. And what I mean by that is for the people who don't understand what hip-hop is and think that the 2C slide is real rap, well, I'm going to make this very simple for you. Kendrick Lamar is not a clout chaser like the other guy, and if he had 5 fans or 500 million, nothing about his creative approach and level of effort would change.
Exactly.
And this is not just me speculating or trying to defend him, but from the Mr. Morale era, which was such a personally driven album that wasn't made for any of the big major charts and wasn't made to have these big hit songs and was only made to tell a personal story. And then to GNX, which was a much bigger album in terms of the appeal and accessibility and what it was trying to really do. Well, ultimately, from record to record, tour to tour, everybody should realize that. And so when you consider that Kendrick Lamar would not cancel the show for any reason, and also let's just use our logic here, and I know this is hard for some people, but really stay with me. If every single other show on this tour has been a full sellout, or the one show that wasn't was the Houston show, which filled up 96% of the capacity, and that's from all of the crowd images and then touring data that has been released from the Grand National Tour, well, ultimately for the Cupcake fake fans, this may be hard, but let's think logically, and with that, I just have to ask. Do you think that Kendrick Lamar would have seen anything different here? Because to me, that just does not make sense. And so listen, when you see all that and see the statement that has been put out, I mean, in terms of communicating with the fans, while everything has been told to us and people should just understand that, with that said, when we see the media try to hide the statement or pin the whole situation on something else to make Kendrick Lamar look bad, unprofessional, and like he doesn't have the influence that he clearly does and that we have been seeing night after night. Well, what I will say is that in terms of how hip-hop is being framed right now, we are starting to see a shift and change when it does seem like they are trying to just tear down Kendrick Lamar and really just downplay.
Because the industry is not ready for that shift. That's the thing. They want us to remain stupid. Want to give us stupid, degenerate music that we can shake our ass to, dance at the club. They don't want us to think. They don't want us to use our minds. They don't want us to be intelligent or read the lyrics or comprehend the lyrics. They just want us to remain slow and dumb, right? That's why the industry is not ready for the shift, and the shift is happening already. I don't know why. They better get ready because the shift is happening with the whole the Clips album, Jid, all these people that's coming out, putting out great bodies of work. They still want to be on that Drake era, that stupid music, and we're not having it.
However they can. And to me, when I see this, I do think that it's probably because of how dominant he has been over every single other rapper and how he does not engage in any of the industry games that everybody else is trying to play. And in a world where everybody else who doesn't want to make good music is sitting and complaining and blaming everything on Kendrick, well, who knows what's really going on, but I think people are just mad that one guy can be this good and nobody is even remotely close. And
Sorry, I keep pausing, but it's too many things happening in the world right now. We don't want to hear about no drugs. We don't want to hear about no bitches. We don't want to hear about no cars. We don't want to hear about nothing. We want to hear about real life issues that's happening right now in the world. It's too much happening right now. Tell us how you feel. Tell us, about what's going on. Not about no phone calls like what's that dude name? Young Thug. It's we don't want to hear about his dumb stuff. Did y'all hear his album? He got a song that he's saying the N word with the hard ER like every second. Have y'all heard that? I didn't even review his album because I didn't even just bother listening to it, y'all.
say that because from acting like there wasn't an official statement put out on a lot of the reporting of this when there clearly was, to then trying to imply that the whole tour is going to get canceled or to try to make this bigger narrative to make Kendrick just look bad. Well, ultimately with this, we are just seeing that the music industry is weirder than we could have ever imagined, as just to actively root against or cause people to turn on the guy who has been carrying the entire genre of rap on his shoulders. This is just something we don't really see. And so listen, understanding that, we are just going to look more into why this show was canceled, and I am going to show you the big and real issue and reason why this all did happen, which all does come down to the fact that, well, the statement that was issued out is true, and Kendrick Lamar was indeed ready to perform, but because of logistical issues, the show could not go down. And let me explain why, and to be honest, for touring, why the further dates you add on a tour list other than the States and Europe really does become one of the hardest things in the music industry to pull off. And the reason why I say that is not because of the fan bases and having people that want to see you out there, because clearly Kendrick has that. We all saw the show he did before this. But and again, if you actually want to have a real discussion and understand what's going on and not just try to point your fingers at random things about Kendrick that make no sense and that are blatant lies, well, what is happening all comes down to the fact that the further venues you go to, whether it's arenas or stadiums, well, ultimately, when you have these elaborate tours like a Kendrick Lamar or a Tyler, the Creator does, where there's all of these moving pieces, some of these stadiums in these other places that don't have an NFL or NBA teams playing in them and don't follow all of the regulations that those leagues need in their buildings and all of the major touring acts who come city to city need, Well, again, for these spaces that are not used for these purposes, often the more difficult it can be to set up stages. Where for Kendrick Lamar, there is a lot of effects from all of the pyro to the GNX coming on and off the stage, to literally the stage having an entire middle section that opens up and displays all of these massive props like the dice, the red GNX, and there's always people moving around and dancing in there while doing that. And there's also other things in the show, like the risers that go up into the sky when all the stars would play. And even just in terms of the stage layout, to build something as big and complex as the entire workings of the stage, not just from the front perspective of it, but from how to make that middle moving door part work. This is all some very highly complicated stuff. And listen, I do have proof going into all of this that the venue was just not ready to really hold this type of show.
That's true. I also think that too. I don't think the venue was ready for it. The venue was not ready, and plus, I don't know, for some reason I can't. I think there was some foul play in the back, in the back end of things. You know what I mean? Behind the scenes, I think there was some foul play with the corruptions, getting the fans getting their money, and trying to make Kendrick simply just look bad, canceling the show, not even hours prior. You cancel the show within what, an hour, 30 minutes before Kendrick's supposed to hit the stage. I mean, how unprofessional is that? Like, to all the fans that's been sitting and waiting all day long. I even hear a couple of fans passing out, probably from the heat or even hunger. I'm not quite sure, but still, nonetheless, you wasted people time. That's why I think there was some foul play.
Because when you do look at the way they were trying to prepare the day of, things really did seem like they were messy. And this was because there was all issues with the venue and the structure of it and how it could actually put this performance together. And with all of that, well, from that to then actually seeing the venue and looking at the build-up and seeing how, unfortunately for Kendrick Lamar, despite this being seen as a viable place to put onto the touring list, when the team actually got there, he was not going to be able to get this GNX show to run like the way it has for every single other place they have went to. Well, ultimately, and again, these are the conversations you'll only ever have if you actually want to look into the music industry and try to understand what's going on beyond the surface, and not just trying to put out these ridiculous claims to take down a man who has been carrying the genre. This is what's happening, and when you see that the venue could not handle everything that they were setting up and trying to do, and when you have these high-level shows with all of these real effects, which again, for the Drake stands, it's something that a Drake show never really does, is you just put some sort of a floor plan out there and then just hope Drake does random stuff for the entire performance. Again, when you compare this to this is why sometimes these events just can't go down. And as somebody who has worked in live music and touring and has seen a lot of major performances from some of the biggest artists and teams out there, we are going to go beyond the fan perspective and what we have seen out there as a second, as I know this as a fact and have been in situations where other rappers and artists who have shows that run with a lot of effects have canceled last minute, hours before the show, and even in the States. And this is not because of personal issues or because the artist is being unprofessional, but it's because of something that, for these real artists who give everything to their craft, is genuinely one of the worst things that can happen to them.
Okay, we're gonna stop right here, y'all. The video is getting a little too long, so go ahead and watch the remaining video on his channel. Again, go ahead and be sure to check him out. So shout out to Fantastic Hip Hop. So what y'all think? Y'all think there's a industry play going on in the background, behind the scenes, to try to take Kendrick Lamar down? I've been seeing this. I've been thinking this for quite some time now, and I believe it's at play. I believe there's something at play to try to diminish this man his whole image. And so go ahead and comment down below if you feel the same way, or if I'm just like reading too much into it. And please don't forget to like and comment and subscribe to the channel. I appreciate you guys so much, and until next time.